Hello! I'm Kendall with Lousy Lemon Creations, and today we're going to be making this adorable little ghost. If you're coming for one of my beginner crochet kits, you get to make 2 ghosts, and they're little duos, and they're best friends, and they're super cute. Your kit comes with everything you need, and if you add it on a crochet hook, perfect. If not, you're going to need a 5mm crochet hook. The supplies you're going to need is medium weight 4 yarn in white, orange, and black, 8mm safety eyes and backs, stuffing, stitch markers, a tapestry needle, and scissors. This tutorial is completely beginner friendly. I'm teaching you how to crochet your very first piece. So if you have any questions, drop them down below or reach out to me over email or through my website or anything. Just don't reach out over social media. I don't generally get those messages. Listed down below, I have the crochet kit and the pattern, and let's hop right into the video. So to start our ghost, to do the very top, we're going to do something called a magic ring or a magic circle. And then I'm going to show you an alternative in case that method's a little tricky. I pulled out my yarn, I'm pulling from the middle, and I'm going to call this my tail. And this is the end, that's finished, there's no more yarn attached, it's where the end is. I'm going to place it in my hand, and I'm going to wrap around to form an X over my hand, over my palm. I'm going to hold in the middle so it doesn't come undone. I'm going to take my hook, and there's a couple different ways to hold your hook. You can hold it like a pencil or like a knife or any variation. I prefer a knife. It's exactly like you would use a utensil, and that's just what I'm comfortable with. I'm going to go under and then over, and I'm going to pull this yarn through. I'm kind of twisting my hook up, because then I'm going to shimmy this off my hand. This is the yarn that's attached to the ball. So I'm going to take it, and I'm being gentle because I don't want this to completely come undone. And I'm going to pull that yarn, the working yarn, which is attached to the ball. I'm going to tighten it so this is a little snug. I'm pinching so it doesn't come undone. And we're going to do something called a yarn over. A yarn over, I'm going to place the yarn on top of the hook and pull through. And that's called a chain. And this is our magic circle. Let me show that one more time. Have my tail. I'm going to wrap around my hand and hold it in the middle. I'm going to go under and then over and pull this arm through. Just like that. And then I twisted my hook up. Shimmy off my hand, pinch, tighten, and then I'm going to switch it to my other hand. To do our chain, this is a yarn over, and then pull through. We're now going to make our actual stitches, which we're going to call single crochets, and that's just one of the many stitches in crochet. So I'm going to insert my hook through our circle. Oops. I'm going to insert my hook through the circle. This is the tail, and I'm going under both. And then I'm going to make my single crochet, which is our yarn over, and I'm going to pull it underneath. Oops, I missed. So my hook's under, yarn over, pull through. So I have 2 loops on my hook. I'm tightening a little bit with my working yarn. Gonna yarn over again and pull through. And that's 1 single crochet. For the first round, we have to make 6. So that was 1. Again, I'm going to insert my hook, yarn over, pull through, and then yarn over, pull through both. So you have 2. This will be our 3rd. and our fourth, five, and six. Now this is a super fun part about the magic ring. I'm going to pinch up top by my hook, and then I'm going to pull the tail. And now it's actually a circle, or our first round. I want to show you another method in case the magic ring's causing a little bit of issues. So I'm going to take this out just by pulling it. I'm going to make a slip knot. So I have my tail over here. I'm going to take it, twist, and pull through. I'm going to insert my hook and then tighten. You don't want it too tight that you can't move it, but you don't want it too loose that it falls off. So just like a little snug. We're going to do 2 chains, which is our yarn over, pull through, and then our yarn over, pull through. This was chain number 2, and this was chain number 1, right by our slip knot. I'm going to insert my hook. I'm going to tell you it doesn't matter if you go under 2 or under 1, just put your hook in there. And we're going to make the 6 single crochets in there. So yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through. So that was 1. I'm going to insert into the same hole, the same chain. And I'm going to make all 6 of my single crochets. That's 3, 4, 5, and 6. This method you might have a little bit of a hole, that's okay. You can take your tail and that little needle in your kit and you can sew it closed if you need to. I'm going to take this out and I'm going to do the magic ring just because I don't want to sew this at the end and it's a little easier for me. And then we'll move on to round 2. So we just finished round 1, and to mark that we're at the end of round 1, I'm going to take my stitch marker, which is that little safety pin, clothespin, safety pin, little looking doodad. So I know it's a little hard to see with the white yarn. I'm going to place it in my last stitch that I made. Each stitch is that little V, so I'm going to insert into the V and close it up. Now I know where my next round starts and the last round ended. So I'm going to pull some more yarn so I have some stuff to work with. I like to move my tail out of the way because you don't want to crochet with that because then you're going to not have enough yarn. You want to use the yarn attached to the ball. So I'm going to work in a spiral. So I'm going to insert my hook into the next stitch. For round 2, we're going to do 6 increases. And an increase is just 2 single crochets next to each other. So I'm going to insert my hook. I'm going under both of those lines. And now we're going to make 1 single crochet. Our yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through both loops. To do an increase, because that was just 1, we have to make our second single crochet. So I'm going to insert into the same stitch and make a second. So there's 1 and there's 2 and they're right next to each other. So I'm going to turn my piece a little bit and into the next stitch I'm going to do the exact same thing. So 1 and then 2. At the end of round 1 we had 6 stitches. At the end of round 2 you'll have 12. So you're placing 2 in every stitch. So I'm going to do it again. 1 and and then 2, moving around, and then again, and I just did it 5 times, but I have to do it 6 times. So this was my last stitch. I marked with my stitch marker, so I'm going to take them out, do our increase of the 2 single crochets, and then I'm going to place my stitch marker back in that last stitch that I just made because we're going to move up around. So this will mark the end of round 2. And our circle's a little bigger. For round 3, if you're looking at the pattern, you're going to see brackets. You're going to see a single crochet, comma, and then an increase. And we're going to repeat that whole sequence in the brackets throughout this round. So first we have to do a single crochet. So in the next stitch, we're going to place 1 single crochet. Done. And then into the next one, not the same, you want to move to the next stitch. That comma in the brackets means we're moving over. And do our increase, which we know is just 2 single crochets. But they have to be next to each other. They have to be in the same stitch. So the sequence in the brackets is 3 stitches, 1 and then an increase. So we're going to repeat that again. 1, and then moving over, an increase. And we're going to repeat that for the rest of the round. So 1, then an increase, 1, and an increase, 1, increase, 1, then I'm going to take out my stitch marker, and then an increase. And then I'm going to place my stitch marker back in so I don't lose track. For the next round, it's going to be a little similar. It says 2 single crochets and then an increase. 2 single crochets is different than an increase because the 2 are going to be across 2 different stitches. So we're going to do 1, move over to the next one, do another one, so they're in 2 different, and then an increase. So this is sequence with 4 stitches. 1, 2, and then an increase. We'll do that for the round. So 1, 2, and then an increase. 1, 2, increase. 1, 2, increase. 1, 2, increase. 1, 2, take out the stitch marker, and increase. Put the stitch marker back in. It's starting to curve a little bit, and that's totally okay. It's going to be perfect for our little ghost. The next round, so this is as wide as our ghost is going to be, so this is the top. We're not going to get any bigger. But now we have to go this way. We have to have the body so that he can be a nice and tall little ghost. So for the next round, you're going to do 1 single crochet in every single stitch. So there's no increases, there's no doubles, just 1, 1, 1, You're going to do this for the whole round. And coming up at the end, so I'm going to take out my stitch marker and place it. So to make it a little easier to keep track of your rounds, I recommend pulling out a piece of paper and a pen or something in your notes app on your phone and just we'll do a little tally. So that was 1 round because we're going to repeat this for a total of 9 rounds. So that was 1. But then we have to do a second and a third all the way up to 9. And we're just going to be placing the 1 single crochet in every single stitch. So I'm going to hop off camera and do this, but I know you got this because we're just placing 1 single crochet in every stitch, which you just did the exact same for this round. You'll move up your stitch marker every time, and then you can keep track on a piece of paper. You want to get to 9 rounds. I can show you how to count them once we are at the end too, so don't worry. If your ghost is like a little shorter, a little longer, that's okay too. So I'm going to do my 9 rounds and then we'll come back. So here's my piece after the 9 rounds. To make it a little easier as we put our eyes in and we count, I'm going to take out my hook, remove my stitch marker, and then place it through my loop. Then you can tighten it and can't come undone. So when counting our rounds, it's going to be exactly like how you think it is. You're just going to go 1, 2. This was our first one. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you count. So I like to do in my head, I'm like, this is my magic ring. So this was 6 stitches and then 12. And that was 1 single crochet and increase, 2 single crochet and increase. And then these are all our rounds are single crochet. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Whoops. So there's 10. You should count, when I really should only have 9. You should count lined up with the stitch marker just to make sure you don't accidentally duplicate it. So 6, 12, because you see right here, it can get a little messy. So 6, 12, 1 increase, 2 increase, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yep, I accidentally did 10, and that's okay. If you are following from one of my beginner crochet kits, just make sure you have enough yarn. There's totally extra yarn, but of course, as a beginner, you might use a little bit more. So just like keep that in mind if you do an extra round. Now we get to add our eyes, which is one of my favorite parts. So here are my eyes. These are the actual plastic eyes, and these are the backs or the washers. So when we put it in, don't do this yet. I'm just going to show you. You'll have your eye in, and then you want your washer facing this direction. Don't do this until you're ready to put it on because you can't undo it and it will, don't do that. Pulling out my ghost and my pattern, and I need to place the eyes in rounds 6 and 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and this is round 7. So I'm going to place it between round 6 and round 7. And this doesn't lock them in place, I'm just sticking them through right now. Oh my goodness, he's looking like a ghost. Before I put the backs on and like officially permanently put the eyes in, I like to add my smile to make sure everything's balanced. So I cut a piece of black yarn and I have my tapestry needle or my yarn needle, whatever you want to call it. And I'm going to place my black yarn through my needle. Starting from the back, I'm going to poke through. Oh, now he looks like a snowman. I'm going to pull through and leave a few inches in the back so it doesn't come undone. I'm going to go over 2 stitches and then down Well, actually, let's just start the straight line. I have the straight line. See, this is why I didn't put the backs on the eyes yet. It's uneven. My needle's still in the back, so I'm going to poke through about 1 round down in the middle of the straight line. Because now we're going to scoop that straight line down, and I will put it back through the same stitch, same spot. So I can just kind of like add a little stitch, a little lock, and pull down. I want to even out my eyes because they are most certainly not even now, but they are now. I'm going to add my backs. You don't have to turn it inside out. I want to do this so I can show it to you a little bit more. I'm going to place my backs on like this, and then you're going to want to push tight, and then it won't come undone. Normally, you should put it on like this so it's nice and flush with your piece. If for some reason it is not locking into place when you do that, you can turn the eye around and then push it on. But please bear in mind, this is not as secure. Safety eyes should not be used for kids under the age of 3, and especially not this method because it can come undone. Personally, I've never had it come undone, but it is not as safe as it is here. While I'm in the inside, I'm going to place a square knot with my black tails. Don't pull too tight because you don't want to mess up your smile. And then I'm just going to trim it. Leave some room so it doesn't come undone. I'm flipping back out. And our ghost is looking mighty cute. But we got to keep on doing. Keep on going. We got to do the ruffles. So I'm going to take out my stitch marker and put it back in our stitch, and then put the hook back on. For this round, we're going to be doing a new stitch called a half double crochet. And this is a lot of fun because it's a little bit taller than a single crochet. So we're going to follow our sequence in the brackets. So we're going to skip 1 stitch. So we're not going to do anything in here. But in the next one, we're going to place 5 half double crochets. So to do a half double crochet, before we insert our hook, I'm going to yarn over, and now I'm going to insert it. Don't forget the skip 1. Then I'm going to yarn over, pull through, so that I have 3 loops on my hook. Yarn over, and then pull through all 3. And I'm going to place 4 more for a total of 5, all in the same stitch. So yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull through. If you're struggling to get all 3 loops through, don't forget to turn your hook down and then pull through. So that was 2. This is 3, 4, and 5. So you can already see it's starting to squish all those tall stitches together, so it's going to make little ruffles or scallops. We're going to skip another stitch and then place 1 single crochet. And repeat. So skip 1, and then 5 half doubles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Skip 1, 1 single crochet. Repeat again. Skip 1, 5 half doubles. Skip 1 single crochet. So go ahead and complete the rest of the round, repeating that sequence. And now we get to cut the yarn and fasten off. So I'm going to leave a few inches. I always leave more than less. I'm going to cut my yarn and then pull through. So now your piece is not going to come undone. And we finished part 1 of our ghost. But now we need to make the bottom. To do our bottom of the ghost, we're going to do it the exact same way we did the top. We're going to do our magic ring. We're going to do the same increases in the same size. So I'm going to do my magic ring. And remember, if this is too fast, please go to the beginning of the video so you can follow it nice and slow and you can make your magic ring. Or your chain 2 method also works here, totally up to you. I'm going to place my 6 single crochets on it. Five and 6. Tighten. And when I mean this is the exact same thing as the top of the head, I mean it is literally the exact same thing. I'm going to place my stitch marker, and then I'm going to place 6 increases all the way around. And remember, our increase is 2 single crochets in 1 stitch. So 1, 2. And do that for the round. Taking out my stitch marker and doing my last increase. And putting the marker back in. Next one, I'm going to do 1 single crochet, and then the next stitch, do our increase. And we'll repeat that. So 1, and then a double. Taking my marker out. Placing it back in, and for our last round, we're going to do 1, and then the next stitch 2. So 1, 1, and then a double. So it was 2 single crochets, and then an increase. Just coming on the end. And our last increase. Now we're going to fasten off. Leave a nice long tail because we're going to use it for sewing. And pull through. And now we have our bottom. To finish the body of our ghost, we're going to sew this bottom right inside. So to make it a little easier, this is my inside string. I'm just going to trim it, get it out of the way. Less strings, the better to work with. And I'm going to take my nice long tail and put it on my needle. This is the tail from the body. You can either tuck it inside or leave it till the end. Either way is totally okay. I just want it out of the way. So I want to tuck mine inside. I'm going to place my little coin right inside. Now, there's about 500 different methods of sewing on pieces. I'm going to tell you, it doesn't really matter as long as your piece doesn't come undone. The best part about this, it's both white, so it's not going to show up anywhere. You're not going to see it. Sew how you want. What I personally do is I insert into the body, and then I'm going to move over, and you want to sew it on this line before the ruffles so that your ruffles stick out. So I'm going to go through the body, through the bottom, and then when I go the other way, I like to go just through the body in the same stitch. And then move over, through the body, through the bottom, and then down just to the body. But again, it's all white. It doesn't matter. Just sew your piece on. I'm going to go 3/4 of the way around, and then we're going to stuff it. So I'm going to keep on going. You're more than welcome to pause the video and just do this on your own thing. I read all of the YouTube comments I receive, as well as like comments on social media. And I've gotten like 2 or 3 comments of people upset that I hop off camera to do things. Even though I feel like I teach you and then I hop off, so I don't know. I just thought for this one I would kind of show everything besides the 9 rounds, because that would have been boring. So if you're like, why is she sitting on camera doing this? That's why. I don't know if I want to do it for every video, but I try to make my videos the best quality, which is why I might go back and redo some of the older ones. We're going to see. We are going to see. Because I try to focus on beginner-friendly videos, and sometimes they're perfect, and others are people are like, But it's also hard when some people are like, this video sucks. I can't make anything out of it. But then I have a ton of other people able to make it using the video, so it's very confusing as a creator. About 3/4 of the way around, I'm going to pull this guy out because I don't like that little line that I created, so I'll deal with him later. Stuffing. You do not just want to do this and then shove it in. No. We're going to pull it apart into small pieces and then place it individually. This gives us maximum fluffiness. It'll be fuller and cuter, and it uses less stuffing. It's just a better method. Don't just shove it in. So I'm going to place mine individually, my nice small clumps, until I like how full he is. If you're following from one of my beginner crochet kits, I give you extra stuffing. Don't feel obligated to use all of it. It's totally fine if you don't. It wasn't like an exact measurement, so don't feel forced. I'm making sure he stays round, so I'm kind of squishing him around from the outside. Do one right in the bottom. Yeah, I like that. And then I'm going to finish sewing. So I'm still going on this round right before our ruffles because I want the ruffles to stick out separately. I don't want it to all be one piece. As I'm coming to my end, my hole's getting smaller, so you might have to stuff, if your stuffing's coming out, you might have to keep on stuffing it in, and then you can fluff him out. It'll shape him a little bit when you're finished. Mine's not doing that because I tend not to overstuff because I like the true size of them. I don't want like the shaping to change, but to each their own, I suppose. All right, coming on the end. My very last one. You do not just want to cut off this piece of yarn. Your piece will come undone. So what we're gonna do is right next to it, I finished here, moving over like 1 stitch or so. I'm gonna shove my needle and then poke out anywhere white. I'm gonna do that with this other piece, which is from the tail of our body. And I'm gonna add an extra stitch or 2 just to round out the bottom. And then I poke through, and I'm gonna poke out anywhere that's the same color. And then I'm gonna trim. I go like right next to his body without cutting the body. If it sticks out a little bit, you can poke it with your scissors, kind of like rub it. We have our ghost. But wait, he needs a bow tie. Well, actually for this one, I'm gonna do a hair bow. But he still needs his bow. But right now, we have our ghost. He stands up on his own, and he's mighty cute. I have my orange yarn, my instructions, there we go. And we're gonna do a small rectangle to make it. So I'm gonna make a slip knot, which means I'm gonna take the yarn, twist and pull through, and then insert my hook and pull it down. And we're gonna do 6 chains. To do that, we're gonna yarn over, pull through. So that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So I have this weird little worm looking thing. I'm gonna start going the other direction. I'm gonna insert my hook not into the one we just made, to the 5th one. Insert your hook and make a single crochet. And then in the next chain, you're gonna do the same thing. So you should have 5 single crochets at the end, because we skipped that 6th one. That's 6 chains, so you should only have 5. That was 3, 4, and I need more orange yarn. Oh, there we go. And 5. We get a small rectangle. We're gonna do 1 chain, which is our yarn over, pull through, and turn our work. And then we're going to insert your hook under that V, under that stitch. And we're gonna do another 5 single crochets. So that was 1. And I'm just moving down the row. 2, 3, 4, and 5, all the way to the end. Highly recommend counting your stitches, because if you skip one, your rectangle's not going to be a rectangle. It's going to turn into like a triangle, weird shaped looking thing. I want to repeat this 2 more times. So our chain and turn, 5 single crochets, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can feel knot in my yarn. There we go. Chain 1, turn, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then we're gonna fasten off. Now we have this tiny little rectangle. So you can either sew this middle part in orange, but I think I'm gonna do black. So I'm gonna cut a nice long piece, and I'm gonna put it on my tapestry needle. Okay, I'm gonna place my black string down and then place my rectangle here. Here's my end. Goodness, I cut my piece very long. Place it on. And I'm going to take off my tapestry needle for a second. I'm going to tie a square knot right in the middle. Oh, it looks like a little present. And I'm gonna pull tight. So that was one part, and then I accidentally chose the long tail to pull through. There we go. Pulling tight. Now you can start to see the shape. I'm going to take our long tail and put the needle through. I'm going to wrap this around a little bit. Trying not to get my orange tail stuck, but you can pull those out a little bit later. So I'm going to wrap my middle around. So I'm happy with how it looks. Yeah, I like that. I like to stitch, oh, well, now the orange needle's not helpful. This is my long tail. I put it underneath my black rows, my black straight lines that we just sewed and wrapped around, just so it doesn't come undone. And then I'm gonna place another square knot with the black tails, because I don't want to come undone. Now we have a little bow. And I want to place it on her head. Oh my gosh, it's just so cute. I just can't handle it. I'm kind of going to hold the bow. I want to stitch through the body and then through the black part of the bow. And then through the body again. You're going to want to do it a few times just so it's nice and secure, especially for the bow on top. If you're like turning it out, see, I'm going to stitch like all the way under so it stays. The bow tie was a little bit easier, but if you're following one of my beginner crochet kits, you have enough yarn to make both. So totally up to you where you want to place the bow tie. Okay, and then see, I don't like that. So I'm gonna figure out where I need to stitch it. Pull it up a little bit. Yeah, just like that. It could be a little messy with all these tails. Just be patient with yourself. We're gonna get rid of all those tails in a moment, just not right now. Okay, looks like a little sushi piece or something. And if it gets stuck on anything, just pull it down. Be patient, you're good. Get the body again. Oh, and then through the bow. All right, let's see if I like that. I think I do. But to be honest, I think probably after this video, I'm going to cut that off and move it somewhere else. But for right now, I like it. So I'm going to take my black yarn, poke it through the body, and I'm going to actually stick it all the way down here on the bottom. Oh, I lost my needle. There we go. Pull it through. Don't pull it too tight, or else it will like shrink the body. You know, like you don't want that. Keep it nice and tall. I want to repeat that with the other black yarn. Through the body and out the bottom. That sounds weird. Then I'm going to cut. You can see it, so I'm just going to poke it through with scissors, and it's gone. A little similar with the orange. Let me switch needles. There we go. So we have blue ones so you can see a little better. Because there's no stuffing on the bow and it's just flat, it can sometimes be a little tricky of hiding your tail. So just go a little slow, and you're just going to be poking it through. I'm going behind the black band. I want to go back down and poke through the body. Sorry if that was off camera a little bit. Let me show you with this guy. The reason I'm not giving a crazy amount of details for this because it doesn't matter. Yes, expert crocheters are going to tell you that everything matters and there's certain ways. I've been crocheting for like 8 years at this point. I want you to enjoy yourself. Don't get bogged down with the little details. Just be patient, take a deep breath, and try to enjoy yourself. This is just crocheting. It's nothing stressful. If it doesn't come out perfect, yeah, it's your first project. It's not supposed to. Mine, first, like, stuffed animal was a shark, and it was hideous, and it didn't look like a shark, but I loved it. And I learned a lot. And now I have our little ghost. Oh, she's so cute. And they're like BFFs. Oh, I love that. Thank you so much for joining me today as we made these adorable little ghost duos. I don't know which one I like better. I think they're both outrageously cute, but I think I like the look of the black with the bow. It's cute. If you liked the video, please like and subscribe. It really helps grow the channel so that I can continue to make more videos for y'all. And drop a comment down below. Which one do you like better? Bow on the head or the bow tie? Again, my name is Kendall, and I'll see you in the next video.